Welcome to the ultimate destination for all things entertainment. Get ready for exclusive access to the hottest movies, shows, music, and everything in between. From blockbuster premieres to behind-the-scenes action.
Ruined this place. Chorus of boos against JD Vance at Washington concert. JD Vance, the U.S. Vice President, was booed by the audience as he took his seat at a National Symphony Orchestra concert at Washington's Kennedy Center on Thursday evening. As the normal pre-concert announcements got underway, the vice presidential party filed into the box tier. Booing and jeering erupted in the hall, drowning out the announcements as Vance's wife, Usha, took their seats. Such a vocal, impassioned political protest was a highly unusual event in the normally polite and restrained world of classical music. Vance ironically acknowledged the yelling and shouts of, "You ruined this place," with a smile and a wave. Audience members had undergone a full Secret Service security check as Vance's motorcade drew up at the U.S.'s National Performing Arts Center, delaying the start of the concert by 25 minutes. After news of the reaction to Vance at the concert emerged, Richard Grinnell, interim director of the Kennedy Center, who was recently appointed by Trump, said the crowd was intolerant. In February, Donald Trump sacked the chairman of the Kennedy Center board along with 13 of its trustees, appointing himself the new chair, bringing in foreign policy advisor and close ally Richard Grinnell as interim leader, and naming new board members, among them Usha Vance. She was on the board of the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra from 2020 to 2022. "So we took over the Kennedy Center," the president said at the time. "We didn't like what they were showing and various other things. We're going to make sure that it's good, and it's not going to be woke. There's no more woke in this country." The new board members have recently been given their first tour of the center, which is home to the Washington Opera, as well as the National Symphony Orchestra, and hosts about 2,000 performances a year. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Thursday evening's concert program, Shostakovich's Second Violin Concerto, with Leonidas Kavakos as a soloist, followed by Stravinsky's Petrushka, got off to a slightly shaky start before settling into its stride. Audience members nervously joked during the intermission about the apposite all-Russian program. Given Vance's brutal dressing down of the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky, during an Oval Office blow-up in February that played directly into the hands of the Russian ruler, Vladimir Putin. Resistance to Trump's takeover of the traditionally bipartisan Kennedy Center has begun. The producers of the hit musical Hamilton have withdrawn from a run at the institution, due to take place in 2026, and a number of individual artists have also canceled appearances. A group performing on the Millennium Stage in the center's foyer, traditional musicians Nora Brown and Stephanie Coleman, had banners on stage with them reading "Reinstate queer programming and creativity at the Kennedy Center must not be suppressed." In a 2016 interview with the New York Times, Vance said he had not realized that people listen to classical music for pleasure, as he reflected on his rise through the American class system after the overnight success of his memoir Hillbilly Elegy. "Elites use different words, eat different foods, listen to different music. I was astonished when I learned that people listen to classical music for pleasure and generally occupy different worlds from America's poor," he said. "Unfortunately, this can make things a little culturally awkward when you leap from one class to the other." But the public anger at Vance was brought on by the culture war that he and his allies have unleashed on Washington's cultural institutions, especially the Kennedy Center. Vance has staked out a reputation as a cultural conservative and leaned into criticisms of cancel culture, saying that modern society was crushing the spirit of young men during an on-stage interview at the Conservative Political Action Conference back in February. "I think our culture sends a message to young men that you should suppress every masculine urge. You should try to cast aside your family. You should try to suppress what makes you a young man in the first place," he said it back. "My message to young men is don't allow this broken culture to send you a message that you're a bad person because you're a man." Trump tweeted in February in relation to this takeover of the center, "And no more drag shows or other anti-American propaganda, only the best." On Saturday, drag artists rallied outside the Kennedy Center to protest against the attacks on their work.